Welcome to I May Be Wrong.
I don't know what this world is coming to,
but I don't think so. We're broadcasting from the greater Nashville area, the home of country music, beyond the borders of political correctness and identity politics. Facts and faith are our demarcations. Truth lights our path.
Here's the Barry White of Podcast Radio,
the Venerable Alfonso Ashworth.
Well, welcome to another exciting episode of I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. Of course, we welcome you into the show. We got a great topic for you today. This is Free Falling Wednesday. We'll be covering topics that are in the news, those that I'm interested in, and of course, I hope that you're interested in as well. You can join us, of course, on Facebook Live. You can chime in. I see that some are chiming in at the moment. Of course, if you're having trouble, if you want to go to the website, go to I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so.com. You can also hear the broadcast there on the show. I see that Jeff Trotter has joined us there in the chat room. Welcome to the show, Jeff. Others will be chiming in. Today, you have a special opportunity. You can call in during the broadcast. Only during the broadcast, you can call in at 615-422-5709. Going to be talking about something here that sort of is worrisome. You know, not only is this Free Falling Wednesday, this is something I enjoy doing from time to time. Normally, we have guests on. I chose not to have a guest this week. Because I wanted to talk to you directly about some things that are concerning to me. So when I do free falling, it means free falling. Anything goes. If you want to call in, the number's on the screen. If you want to text me or chat with me, you can do so at Facebook Live or go to I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so.com. Scroll to the bottom. And you will see a text window, a chat window, and you can chat with me in there as well. If I don't respond, don't worry. I can read and hear and see what you're trying to say and maybe get it on air. You know, there's a lot of things happening. Just so many things going on in our society. It's just insane. All this is happening right now with the politics, with the Bloomberg comments, with the Bernie Sanders comments, with Joe Biden. You know, when Bloomberg, he's a multi-billionaire. He could buy his way into the White House. He could just buy his way in. He can get all the airtime that he needs. He does not have to go through the DNC. He does not have to deal with, look, he's going to be on the stage. He's going to be on the stage. Look, he's going to have to stand there and answer questions. But I promise you, whoever the leading candidate comes out of this Democratic Party, the media will not attack them. Do not expect the media to do your job. It's not going to happen. Of course, if you want to chime in, you got a question you want to ask me, you can do so, like I said, at Facebook. Someone says, Sherry Lee Hughes says, watching and listening. Welcome to the show. Look, if you want to contribute to the show, if you want to be a regular contributor, go to I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so.com. But right quick, let's listen to what Bloomberg has to say that should worry middle America. You know, the East Coast and the West Coast, they do not care what's going on. Only thing they care about is identity politics. That's all they care about is identity politics. You know, on the East Coast, the West Coast, they care about how it looks, not how things really are going to affect the country. How, you know, do we have enough women on the stage? Do we have enough blacks on the stage? Matter of fact, they have no blacks on the stage. They just shoved the blacks right off the stage for the Democrats. No one even talks about it. They just literally made it impossible for Cory Booker and Kamala Harris to even compete. They couldn't compete with the money. Look, it's all about the Benjamins. Let's listen to what Bloomberg had to say here about concern.
And we could teach processes. I could teach anybody, even people in this room, so no offense intended, to be a farmer. It's a process. You dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that. Then you have 300 years of the Industrial Society. You put the piece of metal on the lathe, you turn the crank in the direction of the arrow, and you can have a job. And we created a lot of jobs. 98% of the world worked in agriculture. Today, it's 2% in the United States. Now comes the information economy. And the information economy is fundamentally different because it's built around replacing people with technology. And the skill sets that you have to learn are how to think and analyze. And that is a whole degree level different. You have to have a different skill set. You have to have a lot more gray matter.
You have to have a lot more gray matter. What he was saying, you have to have a brain. He's like the Wizard of Oz. He's like the characters in the Wizard of Oz. The Scarecrow needed a brain. The farmer. That's what he's saying. This is, look, if you didn't get the message, if you allowed that message to go right over your head, what he's saying is, if you're in middle America, you don't matter. What he's forgetting is, it's the farmers who fuel this country. It's the farmers who feed a nation, the world. It's the farmers who come up with new ways to grow their crops, to produce their crops, and to get those crops to your grocery markets. The truckers, the farmers, the people he says don't have enough brains to make this country operate. Let's see what he had to say about blacks. You know, he did this before.
The blacks and Latinos score terribly in school testing compared to whites and Asians. If you look at our jails, it's predominantly minorities. If you look at where crime takes place, it's in minority neighborhoods. If you look at who the victims and the perpetrators are, it's virtually all minorities. This is something that has gone on for a long time. I assume it's prevalent elsewhere, but certainly true in New York City. And for many, many years, people said there was just nothing you can do about it. There's this enormous cohort of black and Latino males, aged, let's say, 16 to 25, that don't have jobs, don't have any prospects, don't know how to find jobs, don't know what their skill sets are, don't know how to behave in the workplace where they have to work collaboratively.
Well, here you go. You know, this right here, you know, vote for him. Vote for him if this is what you think is your only option. Vote for him if you think that Bernie Sanders, out of the closet socialist, Elizabeth Warren, somebody just said Elizabeth Warren says she's the only black candidate left. That's fun. You know, the way they look at this thing, it is all about identity politics. Of course, you can call in at 615-422-5709 if you would like to comment on whatever you hear me say or something that you want to just particularly talk about. Don't be afraid. I don't bite. I won't hurt. Paula says, in my honest opinion, Bluebird doesn't have what it takes to be a farmer. Lack of true grit. Amen. Look, it takes grit. It takes hard labor to farm. If you've ever lived or worked on a farm, you know what I'm talking about. This is not for the faint of heart. And for Bloomberg and others on the East Coast and the West Coast who don't mind all the food that the farmers grow because they can't grow it themselves. Look, Bloomberg couldn't grow kudzu. If you don't know what kudzu is, it's a very pervasive, very aggressive weed. And it's almost impossible to get rid of. He couldn't grow kudzu if he had to survive. He could probably buy some. Paula says it takes faith. That's the truth. When you go out to farm, it takes faith. Now, something else I want to discuss is this thing about the LGBTQ plus community. What in the world is going on? Let me preface this by saying, look, I have relatives who are gay. I have friends, and this is no joke. I have had coworkers. I have no problem dealing and associating and communicating with gay people. None whatsoever. I'm not homophobic. I'm not afraid of anyone. So I'm not homophobic. What I'm concerned about is there is an agenda that's driven by our government to to do away or eliminate institutions, sacred institutions, in sake of pushing an agenda. Now, this is happening all across this country where institutions are being affected. For example, the Boy Scouts now are discussing they're filing for bankruptcy. Why? Because they have been under attack, not just for what has been going on in the Boy Scouts concerning pedophilia and some of those things. I believe it's all connected. I believe these people have intentionally joined these organizations to go in and undermine them. And then when those organizations capitulated, they were totally ignored when it comes to their rights as Americans. The Boy Scouts now is going bankrupt, filing for bankruptcy. Boy Scouts of America. Look, they tried to change their name. They tried to allow gay members. They tried to allow gay people to come in and help with the organization. They didn't discriminate. And what did they get for it? Absolutely nothing when it comes to the press. Also, look at what's happening. Paula says, I'm going to read right quick. Upstate New York is farming land. I'm sure little Mike says safe in the city, stay safe in the city and the Hamptons. True. You're right about that, Paula. Look, if you want to call in, if you got something you want to say, you got something you want to add to the show, call 615-422-5709 and we'll get you on. I'm Alfonso Ashworth, and this is I May Be Wrong, but I Don't Think So. You look, this is Free Falling Wednesday. I do this every so often. This is free falling. This is whatever you want to discuss. Everything's on the table. If you want to talk politics, if you want to talk what's happening in your community, if you want to talk about your situation with the Second Amendment or what's going on, or if you have an issue with your schools, you can call in and let us know about it. But I'm talking about this issue at the moment, about the Boy Scouts and what's happening with the Boy Scouts and why these institutions are being undermined. And I think it's a plan. I think it's on purpose. And the churches, by and large, have just pretty much washed their hands of this issue. Many of my so-called Christian friends, they won't even discuss it when it comes to the LGBTQ community. Plus, they won't discuss it. They'll walk away. They will leave their church if the church addresses it. Many people will leave the church if they even address these issues concerning the LGBTQ plus or issues on abortion. They'll leave the church. Of course, we got something. If you want to discuss these issues, you can join me today. Of course, this is I May Be Wrong, but I Don't Think So. We are broadcasting live on Facebook. I see John Brown has joined us, sharing the video. If you want to look, if you would like to be a guest on the show, I would love to have you. I see Ken Burnett is in the show. Nefertiti Jones. I love Nefertiti. She comes on my Facebook page, and we chop it up all the time. We sort of kid about it, but she's about as serious as I am. And if you want to call, you can call in on the show and we'll get you on there. Sherry Orange is in the show. I see that she says our problem is that moral decay in America is in high gear. She said, read Galatians 5:19 through 21. Look, it's in the scripture. Look, as Christians, I am not. Look, if you're not a Christian, you don't practice, you atheist, you agnostic, or you some other type of religion, or I don't have no problem with you whatsoever. I'm not even concerned in that regard, other than if you want to talk about it, we can discuss it. But as a Christian, how do you get around the fact of what the gospel says about these issues? How do you get around the scripture and what it says about marriage or what it says about male and female? Because if you're discussing it in any other way, then you're denying what the gospel said. Of course, I'm Alfonso Ashworth. We're talking about some of the things that Bloomberg has said, some of the things that Bernie Sanders has recently come out and said. Look, even Pete Buttigieg, Butt edge. It's butt edge to me. That's how it's spelled. He can say boot. He can do the same thing that Don Lemon says. Don Lemon changed his pronunciation of his name to Lemon. Well, it's Lemon. Regardless of what he says, it's Don Lemon. And it's butt edge. And we've gotten along in this society for quite some time, just using the pronunciations as we read them. But now all of a sudden, you don't say it the way you say it the way the media wants you to say it. Of course, President Trump has done a lot to support the standards in America, what we believe in. His poll numbers are rising. What's going on in the country is amazing. The job numbers are just coming out every cycle. There are more and more jobs. There are 7 million jobs available and not enough people to fill those jobs. Paula says Pete's dad is just a good old Marxist. Yep, he's a Marxist socialist, and so was Barack Obama. Barack Obama was a Marxist socialist. People would try to argue with me about it, and they can never look. I asked them, look at his policies. Look at how he lived. Look at his lifestyle. Look at his missions. Look at how he helped start organizations like Acorn. Look at his motives. Look at the people that he most identified with in college. He said it himself in his book. Most of his friends were Marxist or socialist ideologies. Even some communists in terms of his life that he was associated with. So it's not me saying it. Barack Obama said it himself. It's just the way people want to interpret it is that Barack Obama is an untouchable. Barack Obama just recently come out and said that it was the economy, the great economy we have is because of his policies. Well, do I have to remind you what Barack Obama said, not only before he left office, but during the 2016 presidential race? He said, look, he doesn't know where Donald Trump is getting his, he's going to bring those jobs back unless he's got a magic wand. Well, guess what? President Trump apparently had a magic wand because the jobs have returned. People can have jobs if they want them. Unemployment for the black community, especially young black males, is at an all-time low. If you look at women, their job numbers have not been seen for 60 years. If you look at what's going on in the rest of the economy, energy cost is down. Why? Because of deregulation. Have you visited the gas pump lately? Don Hughes says no one wants to admit Obama was a total fraud. Of course, Obama did some things that I can look at and say, look, I like some of the things he did. But by and large, most of his policy was pretty much designed to help one community and one community alone. And that community was the LGBTQ community. It wasn't the black community. It wasn't middle America. It wasn't your farmers. It wasn't the people who were working in the factories, because all those jobs went overseas. The farmers almost didn't have no help. Of course, President Trump has come in, and his trade deals with Canada and Mexico alone is going to bring a lot of farm produce to the table. And look what we've done with China with produce. They buying a lot of our grain. They buying a lot of our produce. The Chinese have now come to the table to renegotiate a trade deal. Come on now. You can't have, look, Obama can't have it both ways. Sherman Lee Kello says that the LGBTQP or plus are a bunch of terrorists. The way they act, I'm not going to say they're terrorists. I'm going to go, but boy, they are on a tear. They're attacking people right and left, especially Trump supporters are being attacked everywhere they show up. Their people are trying to run them out of town. Of course, if you would like to be a part of the show, you can call in at 615-422-5709. We'll get you on the air if you got a comment or a question. If you would like to become a contributor to I May Be Wrong, but I Don't Think So. Look, we have on our website, you can buy some of our merchandise. That helps us out tremendously. If you would like to contribute to the show through donations, you can do that through the website as well. If you would like to know, just subscribe to the show, do it from the website at I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com, and that will get you on the show. Of course, we are doing a free falling episode. I see Ruby Ruffin. She is one of my contributors. She is in the queue. She's commenting in the queue. Paula is saying President Trump totally skilled to lead large organizations. The rest are politicians who are skilled in double talk and pandering. Exactly. Bernie Sanders has been in the Congress for 20 years or so, and he's done absolutely nothing. He keeps talking about, I'm going to give you free education. You're going to get free health care. We're going to get you free health care and free education. Let me remind you of something. If you think free college, if you think health care is expensive now, wait until it's free. Because free, see that Pastor Carl Ellis Mitchell III is in the chat room. Welcome to the show, Pastor. Of course, we really pray for you, brother, with your family and your mom. I mean, I know I miss my mom too, big guy. We love you. We love your support. But if you think college and healthcare and all that's expensive now, wait until it's free. Folks, free is not free. Somebody is going to pay. And guess what? The wealthy that you want to talk about, the Bloombergs of the world, the Donald Trumps of the world, the Hollywood elite of the world, they're going to just move their money offshore. That's what they pay their lawyers to do, their accountants. And the poor that people are always wanting to help are just going to remain poor and live off the government. Well, guess who's going to pay for all the free stuff? Yes, the middle class, the everyday schmo that's going to work 40 hours a week. The taxes are going to go up. Look, the Democrats are already saying, look, we're going to get rid of the tax cuts. We're going to get rid of the tax cuts. We're going to raise your taxes. Why? Because that's the way they have in their mind that everything is fair. Well, it's not fair. Of course, if you would like to be a part of this show, this is Free Falling Wednesday. And of course, if you would love to be a caller and talk to me on air, I would love to have you. The phone line is open. You can call 615-422-5709. Well, of course, we're getting ready to come up on the end of the program, so don't wait too long. I know you got something you may want to say. Paula says we're going to hear that sucking sound. Yeah, if the Democrats take over the Senate, take back the White House, you can forget about the trade deals. China is never going to come to the table, ever, if a Democrat's in office. Why? Because most of the Democrats have their hand in the pot over there in China. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. You have people like Bloomberg who has companies, multi-billion-dollar companies invested in China. This is why he never says anything negative about China. And we already know Joe Biden, he got his money from China, and his son got his money 2 weeks after the trip to China and to the Ukraine. Hunter Biden got $1.5 billion from the Chinese for his company. So they're already in the bag. It's already in the bag for that group. That's not going to change. Only thing that's going to change is you and I, the American taxpayers, are going to be paying more in energy costs because the regulations are going to come back. The only way to keep those regulations under cap is to keep Trump in office for 4 more years and to get that Senate back and get the House back and get a law passed to where it cannot be changed. Right now, the only reason it's staying where it is because Trump is keeping it there. They're trying everything they can to get him out of office. They've tried to go through the courts. That didn't work. Why? Because Trump is appointing conservative judges. So now they try to go through the House and impeach Trump. That didn't work. So what are they doing now? They're trying to take credit for the economy. That almost makes me want to laugh. They're wanting to take credit for Trump's economy and hand it to Obama. Paula says the biggest problem we have are the brain dead voters who have been programmed against America. Exactly. Through our education, like I said, our institutions are under attack. Our college, our universities, our public schools, they're all under attack. And a lot of it is being promoted through this propaganda that's coming through our movies, our television programs. Look, they've got a show that's on some network called Breeders. Do you know what breeders? That's the slang word that's used by the LGBT community to describe heterosexuals. We're called breeders. Well, I have news for that community. If it was not for the breeders, you would not have people that would be able to afford these programs and watch these programs. By the very nature of the LGBT community, they cannot reproduce. That's something left up to God to do. Of course, I want to thank you for joining us on the show. Don says Paula Bloomberg wants a vendetta against Trump. Yeah, look at this. Don Hughes is correct. This is a New York thing. This thing between Trump and Bloomberg, if it comes down to Bloomberg as the nominee for the Democrats, the fireworks during the debates are going to be unbelievable. Can you imagine someone with the physical statue of Trump standing beside this Bloomberg? Just the visual alone is going to be impressive. And the fact that President Trump is seasoned, he knows what he's saying, he knows the direction he's going in, and it's going to be hard to stop the Trump train. The media is doing everything possible. They're doing everything they can. Christy Lynn says, excellent conversation, Al. Thank you, Christy. We support, glad you're supporting the show. I see those in the chat room are there, and we really appreciate what you do. I appreciate all of my listeners. I appreciate those that are a member of something we call the Furnace. If you're not a member of the Furnace, that's our chat room members. You can do so at I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com. You can go and subscribe to the show, and you will become a member of something we call the Furnace. We are building a coalition. We are building a brand. We're building a message that is going to be highly effective come November. Why? Because the mainstream media is losing ground to programs like this. And I'm a small fish in this really big pond, but my members are growing and my people are growing, and we are ready to go to battle. And others who are out there that want to join this movement, you need to hook up with programs like this. Get in line with programs that's going on like this one, because we are making a difference, and we are here and we're not going anywhere. No matter how much shadow banning goes on, no matter how much spying is going on in our chat rooms, we are here to stay. We'll go around it or go through it. Either way, it don't matter. Ken Burnett says, does Bloomberg know the beast doesn't have a booster seat? That's a good one, Ken. Man, did you see the beast make that lap at the Daytona 500? And that visual of Air Force One flyby over Daytona, and then the president's limousine made a lap in the, man, that was just so America. That was just so America. The whole imagery. President Trump is, whoever's managing his campaign and managing his marketing, they're brilliant. They're always 3 steps ahead of everybody else. And it upset the media that they got caught off guard. They thought Trump was just going to show up at the Daytona 500 like he did the college basketball, football game or whatever. No, he came in style, and I love it. I'll never forget seeing that one. Of course, I want to thank everyone for being a part of the show today. We had a great time talking about the topics of the LGBT community, what's going on in politics, what's going on in our religious institutions, our schools. But we really want you to come and join us. Of course, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. And I want to tell you, of course, God bless you. God bless America. God bless our children, and peace.
You've been listening to Alfonso Ashworth, the Barry White of Podcast Radio. Go forth and share his message. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Remember, no two people can ever occupy the same place at the same time. You were uniquely and wonderfully made. Born an original. Don't die a copy. God bless. Peace.